with the most is Donna Smith, aka Lady D. How you doing on this beautiful, beautiful beginning of the week? Today is a Tuesday. Look at this, y'all. I got a comb in my hair. You know why? I'm just gonna say this before I get started. Y'all remember these old school uh, metal tip combs right here? They got the man. You talking about really scratching your head when your head itch? This is a go-to. Anyway, let me put that down. So, how's everything been? I wanted to stop on by this afternoon just to kind of, touch bases with you guys, let you know my progress one day at a time. I'm trying to focus now on getting more of my vitamins inside. I'm having an issue with the swallow still, and just drinking more fluids because the fluids is the go-to. Those that is the thing that will help with your healing and everything else. But anyway, I see it's a lovely day outside. Unfortunately, I have been inside a whole lot more than outside, unless I just have to make a quick run to the store right quick or something like that. Haven't been getting out much, but that's okay. This too shall pass, one day at a time. So one of the things I wanted to take a moment and talk about today was, what is it that you've been looking for in a pursuit of a mate? And I'm not talking about just having a mate, because we all can be at a point where we're just looking for a mate, a space holder, someone to kind of fill a void. But I'm talking about really, really looking for a lifetime mate. I had a conversation with a friend. I just realized, man, we've been friends for about 30 years now. And we was talking earlier today, and one of the things we touched on is at this status quo in life, we all are, most of us, that is, I'm not going to say all, but most of us is at a stage where we're looking for something that is more complementary to our needs, wants, and desires. And, just think about that for a moment. What is it that you're looking for at this time in your life as far as a lifetime mate? Now, one of the things we talked about, this friend and I, was that how the pursuit and the outlook of wanting something of some type of substance is totally different now than it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, it was all about having fun. It was all about clubbing. It was all about, man, just living another day to the best that you thought was your abilities and just enjoying yourself. You didn't look at growing old or um, time passing by or accomplishments or anything like that. It was about just having fun. So at that point, you may have been looking for something just to do, just to enjoy in the moment. And that was it. There was nothing else. But at this point and stage in your life, 30 years later or more, what is it that you're truly looking for? Um, we also touch bases on how easy it should be at this point or another in your life to identify when someone is not for you and the situation is not a good fit early on. And we talked about, a lot of times that can be identified in the beginning, as far as telephone conversations. You can have telephone conversations on a regular basis with someone of interest, and then, find out after talking about a week or less that this is not a good fit. Usually, people will trip themselves up into saying things that is not going to work for you, right? And I think, as far as men is concerned, um, they would appreciate finding out this. prior to going out on the dates, because we also touched on how expensive it is now for men to take a woman out on a date. I mean, any date of any type of status, of course, minimally starts at $100 or more, realistically. You can even look at, well, let's go to the movies. You go to the movies, pay to get in the movies. You may grab a hot dog and a drink and maybe a box of candy while you're in there. Now these movies have bars. You may get a drink or two. Um, and Man, the popcorn. I know the last time I went to the movie, I was asking for the little junior size, the little one for the little kids, and they was telling me we don't have those anymore. You got to get a small. And I'm like, okay, a $10 bag of small popcorn that I know I'm only gonna eat a couple of handfuls of. Really? So anyway, they make you kind of have to go there. So it's expensive just going on a basic to the movies, and that's not including what you do after. That's not including the dinner or whatever you may decide you want to eat or go out for more drinks. We also touched on the fact that you figure a basic date out. You take someone to the movies or to a play per se, you're gonna pay $400 or $500 usually on a night like that, and that's not even including the dessert after. Yeah, the dessert. The dessert that which you should wait on the dessert. But I'm just saying, those who are looking for the dessert, that may not be including the dessert. So you have, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you go to a concert at the Oracle Arena. You have decent seats. They were $100 and something dollars each for you and your date to be up close. That's $300, okay, plus some change. Then you may have a drink or two while you're there. $15 minimum a drink or more, depending on what you get. Parking. At the Oracle Arena, parking is $40. $40. And I know people, hey Tobias, hey, how you doing? Um, it's $40 to park at the arena. And a few people I know who have chose to park over near the BART and in some of the residential areas or whatever has gotten their windows busted out. People are breaking in their cars. So they're more careful to park in the parking lot. Now, you're going out on a date. There's nothing wrong with offering women. If he taking you out, he's driven, he gassed the car up and all that. If there's a bridge toll or gas, offer to help with it. 9 times out of 10, when he's really trying to be a gentleman, the first, I say, 3 dates, he's gonna appreciate the fact that you have offered, but he's probably not gonna take it. But he's gonna know that you do have a giving heart and that you are willing to participate and not be selfish about just trying to get all you can on this date. So you look at that, the parking, you look at if we're going to grab a bite while we're in there. Usually you should eat before you go or after you leave. Um, and then drinks, and then the $300 for the ticket. You're talking $500+ easy for a date. So yes, a man would be more appreciative if you guys kind of got this thing off the floor talking first on the telephone before all this money is spent. Because some people, and I'll just use the scenario of women, some women will, they just love the thrill of being dated and going out on dates and having the man spend all this money. And it very well may be a man that she's not even interested in like that, but she thinks has a little potential, have a little money, a little status, and like to go out and have a good time. So she'll ride that bike until the wheels fall off. Sometimes she ends up really liking them, and sometimes she doesn't. She just like doing what she do, and she keeps herself out of relationship status so she has the ability to do what she do. So there are some women who go there. But you look at the fact that $500 or more a date and you're not on an intimate level. And lo and behold, if you have been on an intimate level even once and you're going to a concert or a play or something like that that is out of your zone of wanting to drive home because of the alcohol level zero point 0.8, not wanting to drive and take that chance of it being in your system, you get a room. So there you go with another hundred and something dollars for the room for the night, and you got to check out at 11, and you may not even be getting to the room until 1 or 2 in the morning. Hello. So there's a lot of money involved with these dates, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you really like somebody and you have it like that, and you want to take them out and show them a good time, and ladies, after the third date, I don't have a problem with sometime treating and or even offering to put something on something, pay for the tip, pay for the bridge toll, you know, ask you need help with the gas. I mean, there's nothing wrong with throwing that out there, and he will bite on it when time suffices, or he'll keep it in the back of his mind and give you some really good high brownie points for it being the type of sister that did at least offer that. Now, we talked about that and how people pretty much at a mature stage in life, you know what you know, what you know. You want what you want, what you want. So you've come to the point where you realize that there are certain things you're just not going to compromise on. I'm not going to compromise on it. And this friend was telling me that, man, they can look like a baboon, but have all the wonderful, beautiful qualities that they're looking for in a mate, a lifetime mate, that they will continue to see that person. And one of the key things that they mentioned is always being upfront from the gate with what you're looking for and which direction you're going. So when you have those conversations over the phone or when you sit down on that first date, you are talking about what your want, like, and desires are. If you're looking for something that is going to potentially grow into something greater, a friendship, a relationship status, engagement, and hopefully marriage. Because at this point in your life, you're looking for something more of quality. You're looking for something, there we go again with that quality and not quantity, but we're looking for something that's more lasting. You get to a point where it's not about just wasting your time anymore. Who wants to do that? Who does that at this point? It's like, who has time? So that's why it's important when you identify. We talked about the scenario of you hypothetically are having a conversation with someone and they let it be known that they're a smoker. They smoke cigarettes, and you already know that that's a deal breaker. You're not wanting to be with anyone that smokes. You don't want to pollute your own lungs by being around them, or sometimes just the pores of the smoke that lingers into certain things. Say, for instance, if this person is a smoker and they smoke all the time in their car, there are smoke pores that's in there. So you get in the car and they don't even have to light up, but you're inhaling these things. You go to their house, it's embedded in their carpets and their blinds and their curtains and stuff like that. Even the blankets on their bed, because some people like to lay back in the bed and smoke on something. So um, if that's just something that you just can't compromise on, and a person let it be known early on that they are a smoker, then it's always better to let them know right up that, okay, you cool, I like you, you sweet, but I don't think this would work out. I'm not into smokers. And then you have those who will try to change up the game in midstream. It's like, well, I only smoke every now and again. I don't smoke all the time. I may have 4, 5, or 6 cigarettes a day, something like that. And then if I'm really stressed and I'm really going through it, I may smoke a half a pack. And then on a really, really stressful day, I may find myself even smoking a pack, especially if I go out and I drink. You like, girl, bye, a boy, bye. So it's certain things that you just don't want to compromise in what your needs, wants, or desires are. If you find out that this person is um, more on the terms of materialistic things, they're talking about material things that they're wanting to pursue or have, a certain status. Perhaps they made a comment about one woman stating that they wanted someone to be at their level of status or higher. Well, this person already know they wasn't at their level of status at all because they didn't own any property. They didn't own their car. They didn't have a big bank account. They didn't have a business. So this person they was talking to kind of had these things already going on. So they let it be known early, talking, that I'm looking for someone who has the same status and abilities as I have right here or greater. So they already knew, okay, this is probably not going to work. Because although I'm aiming to go in certain directions and trying to do certain things, I'm not quite there yet. So this person is letting me know straight up that they are into a material focus, right? So you have identified that this is not going to be a good fit for you. Sometimes it's just as easy as one, two, three to determine that. And then there's other times where you have to, hey, David, how are you, sweetie? There's other times when you have to pick apart, and the person is not so quick to tell you all these things. You may have to go out on a date or two and then you find out, because the more you converse, and that's why, you guys, it's so important to have conversations. It's so important to, at first, talk on the phone with someone a little bit to get to know, because you'll be surprised at how much you can get to know about a person and their temperament just by having conversations with them prior to spending all this money on dates. And women, I would have to give the advice of, on the first date or two, I say the first 3 days, but the first date or two, don't offer to take him out at first. Men are doers, men are pursuers, men are chasers, men are hunters. Let him do his thing first. Let him do his thing. And then, by no means, when the time is right, you let him know that you're not that type of woman that wants to take advantage of a good situation, and that you don't mind sometime doing something sweet yourself. You may get those concert tickets, you know. You may offer to take them out on a dinner date. You just may do that. But let it be at least the first 3 dates. You want them to be able to be the pursuer. Now, with that being said, what is it that you've been looking for at this point in your life as far as a mate moving forward? Are you looking for material gain? Are you looking for a physical gain? Are you looking for an emotional, heartfelt, spiritual gain? Are you looking for a friendship? Are you just looking for a live, full of action situationship? And I call it situationship because that's what it is. When you have someone who just wants to get with you because they have a situation, but they like the situation that you guys have, so they like to get with you to be able to deal with you on that situation level. Hmm. Yeah, and that's all. That's all it is. Call it a friends with benefits. Call it a booty hootie call, woody call, woulda, coulda, woulda call, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. It's called. And you know, you have to, in the beginning, you have to set the tone and the stage for what it is that you're looking for and you want. But you have to determine what that is first. And don't be afraid to express that based on what your needs are. I'm not saying the first conversation you have with that person is about you. I want, 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 I want. It don't have to be all about what you want. It don't have to all be about what you need. But you can kind of gear and steer the conversation in a way that you both have an understanding of the path that you're willing and want to travel with someone. Are you just out dating because it's just a pastime? Just something you want to do because sometimes you do want to interact with some adult company of the opposite sex or what have you. And you just want to do this. That's all you're looking for. Because right now, your plate is so full with your life, and your focus is your life, and that's it. That you just don't have the time, energy, or know how, or want to how, or can how, or why not how. You don't have it in you to want to give of what it takes to help a relationship flourish. So you are into selfishly just your own little needs and course. And in some way you have to communicate that and make that clear to the person that you're sitting across the table from, or sitting across the Starbucks coffee from, or talking on the phone, and you're just getting to know. And be, you don't want to bombard them with just your whole list of bucket things, but you want to talk about things of substance. You trying to feel and get to know a person's personality, where they're coming from, where their mind is at, where their head is at, what they are looking for. Because believe it or not, usually some will trip themselves up big time before you even have to ask a particular question. Or sometimes you have certain questions that you ask just to kind of see how they're going to answer them. And usually a true talker is going to give you more than they should. That's why they say sometimes less is best. Be specific and straight to the point, but sometimes less is best. Because sometimes they will overtalk all of this, and you'll be then piece together three, four, five things in that feedback, and you only ask one question, but you'll be able to piece apart four or five things in that whole little exchange that lets you know straight up, this ain't the one. And then they made a comment that, because I asked, well, when you determine that this is not the one that you are looking for, or or have interest in, do you ghost them when it's early like that, or do you just let it be known? And so their response was, it depends on the person. If they determine that, because some women will come out and just say, I can be a bitch sometime. And some men will say, I can be a bitch too. Okay. So if you got both of y'all that can be bitches, look, this ain't gonna work out. Cause here we got two BITs up in here, and it's gonna cause a fire. Too much friction. So, if they come off and let it be known in that way, then you um, can determine that, okay, I know that this is just not going to be a good fit for me. And I need to just let them know that. Or if I don't feel comfortable letting them know that, because they may be the type that'll key my car or something, uh, I can just ghost them. And I think that's why some are really slow to not let you know where they live right away. They don't invite you to the house right away until they kind of feel comfortable and know who and what they dealing with. Because once a person knows where you live, that could be a whole nother disaster waiting to happen. And sometimes they know where you live, but you don't know where they live. Or they may think you don't know where they live, but you do know where they live. You just ain't never presented it and popped up over there to let them know you know where they live. But at the end of the day, if a person has not identified to you of where they live, they probably just feel they don't want you to know. They don't feel comfortable with the situation, or they got something to hide. hmm One or the other. They can have another woman that ins and out of there all the time. They can have somebody they living with. They could be married. It could be all kinds of situations of why a person just don't want you to know where they live. So you have to pay attention and you have to focus on what is it that you've been looking for. You have to identify it. You have to know it. You have to stick by it. Don't allow another to have you compromise. Little bitty things, oh, what's a little thing? They may bust gas every now and again because they got a bad digestive thing going on, and they say excuse me, and they try to run out the room and not do it in front of you, but it comes out sometime. Well, they can't help that. They can't help that. So to judge somebody on that, you got another issue. But but when it's things that there's no compromising, like I identified, the situation with the smoking. Perhaps you're okay with marijuana. You're okay with edibles. You're okay with smoking a joint every now and then. You don't really, you know, come hard on that. But when it comes down to other type of major drugs, you ain't trying to get into that. You may have dealt with a past relationship that the person was on dope. You may have a situation yourself where you were on dope, and you don't need no conflict of interest there at all. So you can't compromise with that. A drinker, a chronic drinker, one who wakes up drinking, one who goes to bed drinking, one whose personality is altered due to their drinking. None of that. You don't want to compromise. If that's something you don't want to deal with for whatever reason, maybe it's a trigger, maybe it triggers you to want to drink, maybe it triggers you to act a certain way, you don't want to compromise that. Okay? So, and especially if that person also has a negligence to responsibility issue. Perhaps they have a gambling problem. And every time you turn around, they're in the casino, they're gambling, they're betting on horses, or they're at the poker table or what have you. And sometimes they go through $1,000 or $2 a wop, and sometimes they win, but there's sometimes they lose. But they have a consistency of this issue, and you're more thrifty with trying to put away for a rainy day, trying to build a pot so you guys can travel, or you can work on a common interest you have together, maybe more property, maybe a business, or just money for a rainy day. And you don't believe in just throwing money away like that. Now, to take a trip to Reno, Cache Creek, Vegas, and you want to do some penny machines, or you guys may have it in your budget. Well, we got $500. You got 250. I got 250. That's it. Once the $500 gone, we gone, or we gonna go upstairs and just lay down and watch a movie or something. Okay? All right. You gotta understand it. If one of us win, we'll make sure the other is cool. But you have to get an understanding about that. But if a person is relentless about their gambling, about their smoking, about their drugging, about their some people have um, an addiction to going to like porn sites. They like, I mean, not porn sites, stripper dancer places. They like watching the female strippers. They like watching the male strippers. They like giving away their money, throwing it out there, lap dances, all that. I mean, that's okay if you're doing a bachelorette party, a bachelor's party. You doing what you do. Sometimes even going to Vegas. They got a lot of naughty little dancers in Vegas. Ooh wee. But that's just an entertainment thing. That's just something you do in the moment because you're out having a good time, and you do that. But there's people who have all these different um, situations, even sexual addictions. They have sexual addictions. If it's not getting fed by you, then they want to get it fed through someone else to them to satisfy and quench their thirst. So then you have a situation of them being cheaters, or who let you know that it's somebody else that they dealing with, and they need you to be cool about it. Be cool about it. Because this is my go-to when you acting up. So I'm still going to be down with you. I'm still going to be good for you. I'm still going to be good to you, but I'm still going to do this too. And they are asking, pretty much telling you that this is how it is. And then you go ahead on and you accept the situation, compromising what you want, what you need, what you desire, what you deserve. Never compromise any of those things that you need to appease another, and they're doing things that you're totally against. And when you talk about it, what do I think about what? SPH? David, elaborate more on that. Um, but you know, you have got to identify early on what's good for you and what's not. If a person is letting you know that they have sexual addictions and they are into certain things, behaviors that you probably just like, no, not I, said the cat. Um, then that's your way of letting you know ahead of time that this is not a good fit. You know, you don't want somebody that's stiff and that's not into enjoying one another in a very wild and sexual way. If you both are on that page, right on. If you both like, behaviors that some would say, ooh, that's fine. That's what you both decide to do early on, you know, and it works for you as a couple. But that's why you communicate and talk about these things. Don't just spring something on them later on and you've been like this all along, but you've been seeing this person for 3 months and all of a sudden they let you know that they like to watch or be watched or whatever the situation. And you're like, huh? Why? What? Why you didn't tell me that? Uh, I'll tell you, now I'm all into this. I'm all into you. Now what? Now I got to make some decisions. So you got to be straight up. What is it that you need right now in your life? What are you looking for as far as a mate? What are you looking for? What's important to you? What's important? What can you tolerate? What can you not tolerate? You know, let's hear from the not tolerates first. Leave it in the chat. Let me know. What is it that you cannot tolerate? I can't tolerate lying, cheating, being disloyal. I can't tolerate you coming to me saying you're not a believer. I can't tolerate you want to bring three or four or a baboon into the bedroom with us. That ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. So I sure can't tolerate smoking cigarettes. You smoke cigarettes, you need to be trying to work on that. If you're gonna pursue me, you need to try to work on that. I'm not being judgmental. I'm not trying to diss people who have a little nicotine addiction, but that is like yuck. I remember one of the greatest quotes I saw was kissing a smoker is like licking an ashtray, quote unquote. And it is. And not only that, you are subjecting yourself health wise to those chemicals. So it's not only is about them, it's about what they are doing to you as well. No, I'm good. I'm good. But that's just me, you know. And so some are okay with that. They go out in the patio and smoke together and blow it all in each other's face and up against the head. And they both stinking and they don't care because they both stinking like the smoke and they both doing the smoke. So, oh well, come on, Stanky. Come on. Come on. Come on, Stanky Poo. That's what they do. They got a smoker's call. You got a smoker's call. Y'all on the same page if that's what floats your boat. Okay? So you have to look at what's good for you. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you have been looking for? Because some of you have been quote unquote single for quite a while, and you have had yourself open for a connection or somebody that you want to be with on that way, but you just haven't found the right fit, you know? And like the person I was talking to, they were like, Donna, I'm not trying to be judgmental or looking for the perfect person or nothing like that. But I need to find the right person for me. And I've gotten to a mature stage in my life where I am identifying what's not going to work early on. And you know, you guys, grown folks, that comes with maturity, time, and wisdom of getting to know yourself. And that's why it's important. I've talked about this before, where it's not good to jump from one situation right into another so quickly without allowing yourself to get to know you, that person that you are. Because mind you, if you was the type that had kids young, it was before you can even embrace adulthood. You might have been 16, 17, 18, had your kid. And so you went right into from childhood to trying to be a responsible adult. Okay. And then that didn't work for whatever reason. Having a child with whomever, that didn't work out. And then as you got a little older, you got into something else. And then you got into something else. And before you know it, you was with 5 different people in a matter of 3 years. And that's what happens when you have not allowed yourself to get in tune with you. It's either that or you end up settling for whatever is there. Some people just look at the fact, well, we got history. Yeah, we got history, so let's just both be dysfunctional in this dysfunctional mess. Let's just grow old and get wrinkles dysfunctionally, if that's a word, dysfunctionably. And that's what they do, cheating themselves out of a vibrant, wonderful, um, blessed life because they are accepting and tolerating things in a way that's not good for them. So start with making your list. Um, what is it that you've been looking for in a lifetime mate? What is it that you have been looking for? And if you had been looking and you found, was it the qualities that you really needed that complemented you when you found them? Or was it something that had to change and develop over a period of time? Because some may say, um, well, she wasn't always like this, or he wasn't always like that. It took a lot of time and work. And as time went on and they matured and we went through a few things, they developed into this beautiful person that I needed. And that's rare because a lot of times people just don't change overnight into what it is that you need and you want and you desire. Usually it has to be like that from the beginning, and it just gets better with time, just like fine wine. But you, to be successful, you don't just settle for it being any kind of way at first and hope with hopes that it's going to be the right fit for you. So make your list, start identifying, start being realistic, um, with things that are not little bitty annoying little things, like I said, breaking wind because they got a little situation, and now you want to put them on the I can't do list. I can't do you gassy, really. But they gassy, but everything else is in order. You can get some medicine for gas. You could take some Mylanta, something, whatever that stuff is you drink. You can, it's all kinds of stuff you can do to get rid of some little situations. But when everything else is in tune, you can work on that. So within means, what is it that you could, you know, you end up compromising on because you have found the right person for you? And I don't mean compromising on things that really matter. Because what happens later is you end up becoming very bitter, very, very bitter and angry at this person because you have allowed yourself to settle for things to hopefully develop into the area or the direction you wanted, or settled because you just didn't want to be alone, or settle because you just didn't feel like you were worthy of anything better. And realistically, there are some who feel like they are just not worthy of anything better. It could be that they could have a past of just, say, for instance, rule, excuse me, you guys, is never a video that phone don't ring. I tell you. Anyway, they could be very bitter because they come from a past of relationships that just did not last. They got used and abused and taken for granted, and they after this one, so they now are on the defensive when it comes to um, feeling their self worth and feeling good about what they need and what they want, because they went from this to that to this to that, and they don't feel that, or they may have come from a situation where they were the one that was the abuser. They abused the person. They did bad by women. They did bad by men. So now they feel like at this point in their lives, they don't deserve for anybody to do anything good for them or with them. They don't deserve it because they've always been a El Jerko. But with time and wisdom and asking for forgiveness and turning your life over and becoming a new creature, people can change. People can change and start feeling better about themselves. And no, never sacrifice and compromise because of where you've come from. Never sacrifice and compromise your beliefs, your wants, your desires, your needs. If it's something that you are really strong and adamant about, stick to your guns. If you don't want a person in your life because of them being a negative or bad energy or dark, dark, dark ball of smoke that could cause you to trip up or to get back into a lifestyle that will send you twirling, don't compromise. Set your sights on the prize, okay? Love you, love you, and give yourself time. So that was my message for today, you guys. I want you to have a wonderful day. I got to go. I got to go. Got a few things to go attend to, but I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my talk video today. Again, what is it that you've been looking for? And if you've got it, we want to hear all about it, okay? Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Whenever I do my talk videos, you will be notified. And most importantly, tell a friend, join in, and I'll see you on the next. Have a great day.